So, welcome, Elina. I'm very happy that you accepted my invitation. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi, Elena. I'm CEO and co-founder of Essence, and Essence is an AI-powered and science-based app that helps women to optimize their schedules, tasks, meetings, fitness routine, and diet to the different phases of a menstrual cycle. And we are focusing on companies who are creating more inclusive work environments and support their female employees and people with cycles. And I'm also a former global program director at Women in Tech, where I was working on supporting women and empowering women in STEM and ran programs for thousands of women in over 93 countries.
Thank you, Elina, for presenting yourself. I already know all these details, but every time you talk about Essence, and because it's femtech, right? So when you talk about femtech, there's a bit of resistance towards it, a bit of resistance towards the subject. So I want to know why Essence.
It's a billion-dollar question. I have a background in business consultancy, and also with my co-founder before we started a mental health startup, and we've been working alongside with neurobiologists from the University of Washington in Seattle. And at the same time, I launched Women in Tech community in my home country, then became a global program director, and it's like for a long time it went hand to hand, my Women in Tech or volunteering activity, nonprofit activity, and my startup journey. And at some point we realized that while mental health topic is super important and it's still very much focuses on it's super gender neutral, but we all know that gender neutral is by default tailored to men. So we realized that there is a huge problem, therefore for startups means it's opportunity to close the well-being gender gap and to bring the huge missing puzzle of hormonal health and menstrual cycle in the greater scope of women's well-being. So it's eventually like my nonprofit activity and my startup journey collided to a femtech startup.
I know we talked a lot of times that the burnout rate in women is higher than the one in men, practically double, right? Or
yeah, women are twice as frequently burned out in the workplace than men.
yeah, and the benefits that employers offer are basically tailored to everyone, so not tailored to specific genders, right?
Yeah, so absolutely, that's how it works right now. And when companies have their DI, diversity, equity, inclusion programs, it's important to focus on there's letter in the middle, equity versus equality, because it's not about providing every employee or every person with the same. It's about providing them what they actually need and what they can benefit from, because the well-being programs and benefits that are existing and which are not tailored to people with cycles, they wouldn't be that much impactful and helpful for people, for women, for people with cycles, and so on. So it's not about providing everyone with one tool. It's just giving everybody what they actually need so they can thrive, both in the workplace and in life.
So, Essence being B2B service, I know that you're working with quite a few big companies. You don't need to give me names, give us names today, but can you share a story, or how did they reach this conclusion that that they needed the Essence app?
Yeah, it was a pivotal moment for us, because if we think about like cycle syncing and everything like around that, our first thing that we have is that it's a B2C product, like it's for customers directly. And we also start with this approach in mind.
B2C.
With B2C,
Yeah.
yeah. But then we were very lucky to get an advisor who later became our first angel investor, and she has over 10 years of experience in the US employee healthcare benefits market, and she helped us to look at the business that we are building from a different perspective, from an employer perspective and from B2B. So we started reaching out to companies to see whether or not they are open to talk about menstrual health in the workplace, because this topic is very much stigmatized still. You wouldn't be surprised. And it turned out they are much more open than we even expected, because there is a switch in paradigm about the whole concept of menstrual health. We see that menstrual health in a way becoming the new mental health, because there are new policy making around these topics. Spain became the first EU country that introduced menstrual leave last year. There's new British standards and guidance for menstrual well-being policy in the workplaces, and many other changes in this domain, which really helped us to talk with companies, and they are very much interested in this, because while they have a lot of our employee well-being benefits programs or something related to like mental health initiatives in the workplace, we still face the problem that women, as we mentioned, more burned out, and the well-being gender gap is growing, and there is a need for solutions that are focusing on specific needs of people with cycles.
Yeah, and what I think that for companies it's such a benefit, because women get more have periods when they are more productive at work, and because of the four phases of cycle that you taught me about, which were really like life changing for me to discover what are the periods in which I feel better, that I can perform better, that I can focus better. And I think that it's amazing for companies to know when basically 50% of their employees really can perform better, or can give better speeches, or can make better presentations, and so on. So I felt this in my own journey as a very good experience. But my question is, and you know that I always ask you this, like every day I and not every day, but sometimes I WhatsApp you and I ask you, like, when is it going to be B2C? So any plans on Essence becoming a B2C app?
Yes, for sure. And also, like, another reason why we started with B2B is because we pay a lot of attention to educating women, and not just women, men as well, like the whole society around menstrual health. And many people who come to interviews with us, like when we do user research, for example, they don't even know that there is 4 phases of a cycle. It's not just periods and ovulation, it's menstrual, follicular, luteal, ovulation. So it's a whole range of hormones and energy fluctuations which is happening throughout the month. And there is a lot of ways of how we can benefit from knowing about that. And for us, it's important to raise awareness among women and people with cycles, but also empower them and giving them this digital tool that they can learn how to improve their well-being and performance. But at the same time, when they just know about that, but then they come to the workplace where they cannot implement all of this knowledge into practice, the impact is way less, because they won't be able to actually leverage all of that knowledge. So that's why we really believe that going through for companies from this top-down approach is the way for us to change the corporate culture and to make more societal impact overall. So for B2C, we're going to launch in this spring as well. And we believe that it's also going to be important for people who work for themselves, like freelancers, entrepreneurs, who don't work in big corporations, but also have more flexibility in their work life, so they can even maybe benefit more from that because they are in power of everything which is related to their schedule. And maybe it's worth mentioning here that while we are helping women and we're creating these all algorithms that help you to create a better schedule, intelligent schedule, and like plan your tasks, like you've mentioned that big presentations and like public speaking events and so on, is we know from scientific research that the best time of the cycle is during ovulation and follicular phases. So it's important for us to find the best day in the month, so user can actually schedule this task in this particular day of the month, but at the same time, we are providing them with tips and recommendations, personalized recommendations on how they can better prepare for these tasks if we're not be able to reschedule it, because we're not living in a perfect world. Sometimes we have to do this kind of big trips, presentations or whatever, on the first day of a cycle when we feel bad. But there are a lot of tips and tricks on how we can improve our mental health, menstrual health, feel less overwhelmed, less stressed, and actually perform better. But you were talking about performance, and it's also important for us to not, Essence is not created to exploit women and to make us more productive all the time. It's more about creating more holistic approach to the whole productivity for people with cycles, because it's not about women are less productive. That's not the case, and there's a bunch of research which shows it's quite the opposite. But we see that the individual needs of women are being neglected, and it can be improved so women can perform better to the extent where they not feel that stressed, that overwhelmed, and that burned out all the time.
Yeah, I think it's super useful. For example, for myself to know, whenever I'm down or I'm stressed, I need to chill and I need to take a break, and that's a good period for me. But I can also leverage the periods that I can be more productive and get more things done. So it's very important that I don't do them the other way around. You are talking about because it's a tech-based startup. You are talking about AI. Can you tell us a bit about how are you leveraging AI and how AI helps Essence get the best of the user's performance?
Yeah, sure. So at first, we are starting with analyzing the calendar and analyzing where is the best time of your cycle based on your 4 phases, and also based on the workload which is already there. So we analyze different parameters in the calendar to see to suggest the best days to schedule some events. Also, we are leveraging AI to analyze a huge database of scientific research which is already out there related to menstrual health, mental health, and performance. So we can extract some insights and advice out of it, and use GenAI to create these recommendations. And also algorithms that helps to tie all of that with individual symptoms. So everything is being tailored specifically to this user more than a generalized advice. So it's several steps and several use cases where we implement it. And another thing that it's in the product roadmap for us, which is very important, is to use AI to detect menstrual-related health symptoms, so we can identify and detect what kind of red flags can arise throughout the cycle. So to detect diseases like PMDD, for example, because now without, with classic traditional medicine, it takes around 20 years to diagnose PMDD, premenstrual depression, and it can be with AI done in few months. So it's a totally different quality of life for people who can experience this kind of problems. So if, there's a big area of AI implementation in the whole concept of women's health in particular.
Yeah, thank you so much. I love when I see the combination of human factor and AI and how it can leverage to get the best outcomes. But while you were talking, I was thinking, you have this inspiring story, and you know that I was so inspired for the first time we talked about it. I'm very curious, and I know I asked you, I think a while ago, did you have any setbacks, and how did you learn from those setbacks? And because being an entrepreneur, and especially in this field, it's definitely not easy. So I'm curious about this.
We always see a lot of posts on LinkedIn or other social media which project only like successful stories and very like Photoshop stories of how some kind of entrepreneurs and founders came to the greater achievements in their path. But I think like it's very important to keep in mind that all of that is a truly roller coaster because you're always facing ups and downs. Sometimes it's like 10 per day. And
Okay.
overcoming them and understanding that they're going to happen anyway. So you cannot just like protect yourself from all of that. There is no better time when everything's going to be fine. It's always going to be like this. And like this shift in mindset really helped me to ease in anxiety because otherwise we'll just wait until like everything's going to be fine, but it's never going to be like everything's not going to be in alignment with how we see it and how we want it to be. In Essence journey, we first raised capital when we won the EU grant, and it was quite significant amount of money.
Okay.
And we also got investments commitments based on that,
Okay.
and it was enough for us to close the pre-seed at that point. But then due to different kind of geopolitical situations and stuff, we had to give up a grant. Therefore, some investors step aside. And also we realized that the ones we have, they're not quite the best partners for us overall. Because even though at this point we desperately needed money, it's definitely not the right mindset to raise. It's when you're at the lowest point, you can make all sorts of wrong decisions, and you can end up with partners who are not right for you, who is not like the right fit for you, just because you feel that it's like take it or leave it. And for me, it was like a very difficult choice to make to turn off the investments and to start all over again. We had only one angel investor who actually helped us at the beginning to switch to B2B, and then she stayed with us through all of its ups and downs, and she said like, I'm not going anywhere, we keep going, it doesn't matter that the whole round just fall apart if we'll just start over again. And with this kind of people backing you up, it's when you realize how important it is to actually like partner with people who share the same values. Because at the beginning of a journey for a startup, it's way more important to build these relationships with right people rather than getting their money, because money, like first initial capital will not bring you anywhere. It's more about what you can learn from these people, how they can help you to build a venture, because you like co-creating everything together. So we started all over again, and it was quite a challenge considering I was like I'm an immigrant founder, and femtech is very much underfunded area. Female founders get less than 2% of venture capital. So it's kind of like so many strikes on the way, but we managed to first raise got a good initial traction, confirmed that companies I need another product. We got this confirmation from the market that there is a need for what we are building. Also, we analyzed and see that there is a lot of market trends in our favor. With that, we got we applied to a Silicon Valley-based startup accelerator called Berkeley Skydeck, which is affiliated with University of California, Berkeley. And it was like chances were very low. They accept less than 1.5% of startups, but we get in. And for us, it was a very another pivotal moment, because it gives us the access to the whole network in Silicon Valley. And once you're there, you can actually see like why it's this one of the kind places for tech and for entrepreneurship. So it's bringing me back to this whole point of it's ups and downs, and the only difference is where you stop at your up or at your down. because it's either you keep doing after each failure, or but of course learning from your mistakes, or you just give up. So it's truly the only difference when it comes to whether or not you're gonna see the success of your company that you're building.
So I'm very interested. Like, can you tell us what are going to be the next steps for Essence, and what are your like? Because I know your short-term goals, but what is your big-term goal? I'm very fascinated by big-term goals.
We see that there is a whole concept of perception of time, which is different, can be different for women, because now the whole world operates on a 24-hour men's hormonal cycle, and bringing their women's 28-day hormonal cycle is very important for us, and highlighting that women have another clock, and the whole perception of time can be different, like how we plan our lives, how we align our schedules based on what's happening with our bodies, and also a change in corporate culture, and promote and speak up culture in terms of destigmatization of the menstrual health in the workplace is our big mission, because 10 years ago, nobody was talking about mental health in the workplace. It was a very taboo topic. You could not imagine going to your manager and saying that you're having burnout.
Yeah.
Now it's
Way easier.
okay. It's like everybody understands that good performance starts with good mental health, and the same applies to menstrual health, because why it's such a stigmatized topic. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a source of shame, stigma, pain, and other things that women and girls are facing throughout their lives.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like, it's a huge superpower that we have, and knowing how to unlock it is very important.
Yeah, and we have to educate first the market. So basically, we have to educate the people to understand that. Firstly, we have all these four phases, and then what's the importance of being aware of them, and then how to apply and what to apply and when to apply it. And I think it's super fascinating because it opens up a whole new world, and somehow I would dare to say that it will change the way we work as we know it. Somehow, this is how I see it.
Yeah, we are really passionate about future of work for women, and how we've knowing all of that and implementing that into practice, and also like just destigmatizing this topic in the workplace will help us to create much more belonging and inclusive work environment.
I love this. Thank you, Elina, for accepting my invitation. And to end up this amazing talk that we had, what would be like, I don't know, something that you would tell to a very young, unexperienced girl that wants to be an entrepreneur and wants to create I don't know
what's happening. I don't know.
Yes. And to create maybe an app or a tech-based solution for a better world.
I've been told so many times that it's like not possible, and don't listen to all of these voices. And sometimes those are external voices. In many cases, they're internally, and being able to keep going even when you don't have support or you don't have self-confidence is the only way. It's like you can never be prepared, you can never be fully ready to implement something, and it's just a matter of doing one step at a time, learn from it, next step, some failures on the way, but being able to keep going despite of all of this background noise, it's vital.
Yeah, what you were saying right now, it inspired me because a lot of people talk about innovation right now, and innovation is on every front newspaper or every post or everything. But I think that people are very resistant to change, and innovation means change. And at first we reject change and we reject innovation, and in the same time we reject innovators and we reject people that want to change the world as we know it, even though it's for the better.
Yeah, absolutely. And we sometimes listen to experts, but experts are people who know the world used to be. It's not how the world will be. So it's a very different set of skills and mindset, which requires to think outside the box, see the world differently, start to create something that hasn't been done before. Because everything which is surrounded by us, both like analog and physical products, and every tech innovation and everything in our app, in our phone that we have now, is created by entrepreneurs. So it's challenging, yet it's a very exciting way to actually shape the world that we are living in. And in my case, it's I don't consider myself as an artistic person. That's why I probably went to entrepreneurship, because in my case, it helps me to create something that hasn't been there before.
Yeah, and I think it also relates a lot with diversity, like bringing these experts together with these innovators, and together they can create a better world, and they can put up the strengths that each of them has towards a better goal. Not keeping things as they were, but not changing everything, but like making a purposeful change one step at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the best things when you work in tech and startups world is that you met so many weird and crazy in the best way.
Yeah, I know.
People in the world, because they're crazy enough to think that we can change the world, and they're doing this. And they're so passionate about what they're building, so they can work 24/7 and make a huge difference. And you just see all of this passion and all of this fire in their eyes. And it's super contagious, because you can also, you want to be part of that. You want to be in these rooms of hyper intelligent people who are so passionate about what they're doing. And for me, being surrounded by these people is one of the most important, precious things that entrepreneurship gave me.
Yeah, it's so nice that you're saying this, because I was just thinking that I'm so lucky to have met you, and you're such an inspiration for me. And you taught me so many things. I know you may not realize it, but you taught me so many things, and you taught me how I can put a pause on the things that I'm doing, because I need to rest, when I can be more productive, and I don't know, you have this force in you that you never give up, and you make everything seem so easy. But I know the work that you put behind it for creating a better world for women at work and for the future of work. So thank you so much for sharing all these amazing stories, and I hope to have you again with me, maybe.
Thank you so much. And let's tell the secret. You're not just a podcast host, and I'm not just a guest. You're also my investor, and you believed in Essence so much that you decided to invest both your money and your time and your energy and your knowledge into that. So we are. That was I was talking about when I'm talking about like finding right partners, because you're building something which requires a lot of time and effort, and you'd rather build it with someone you want to spend hours and you want to spend years with, because it's a long journey, it's a marathon. And thank you so much for believing in us, for supporting, and I'm looking forward to see what's next.
Yeah, I'm so happy that we're going to share this adventure together, and I'm so looking forward to changing the world together with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.